the Russian speaker should be supported by people here in the Russian Federation. So this is not old news for Russians waking up this morning, the arguments anyway, but I think it'll be shock that this has actually happened.
James, thank you. And let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Bill Taylor. Thank you again for joining us. A senior Pentagon official says that this is the start of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Is there any way to back away from the brink here, or are we at the point of no return?
I think we've passed the point of no return. I think the attacks that President Putin has announced and that we've started to hear from not just Kharkiv, but even in Kyiv, that's amazing. It's far distant from the border. And even we've heard some reports from the southern part of Ukraine, south of the occupied territories of Donbass. So we're past the point of going back. He's attacked. Putin has no justification for this. There is no indication whatsoever that he was able to find a justification. He was looking for one. He was hoping that he would have some rationale, something that he could point to that says, oh, the Ukrainians are attacking. He never got that. The Ukrainians were so disciplined to not respond to the provocations. And so now President Putin is left with no rationale. He has undertaken an unprovoked attack on a neighbor. This is criminal. He will go down in history badly for this.
And now, as that invasion is underway, if you were still the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, what would you be doing right now?
So I would be making it clear to the Ukrainian government that we're strongly supporting them. We support their sovereignty. We support their right to fight back. We have been providing weapons and ammunition, training, and equipment, and we will continue to do that. The Ukrainian government will now have to decide how it responds. It's clearly going to fight. The Ukrainian military is prepared for this. It's not a match. It is clearly not a match for the Russian military, but the Ukrainian military will exact a very high price. There will be Russian soldiers who will be killed if they come across the border, if they follow up these missile attacks or artillery attacks or aerial bombardments, which must be going on right now. If they follow those up with attacks across the border by infantry or artillery or tanks, they will pay the price. So the Ukrainian military will fight hard.
You mentioned that the U.S. military is helping with weapons, ammo, equipment. Is there any point of escalation where that might also include U.S. troops?
So far, no indication at all of U.S. troops. The Ukrainians have not asked for U.S. troops, and President Biden has been very clear that he doesn't have the intent to send U.S. troops into Ukraine. Now, what he has done, what President Biden has done, is move U.S. forces from the United States to East European allies. He has also moved forces from other parts of Europe to East European allies because they are now threatened. So Poland is now threatened. Romania is now threatened. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, the Baltic nations, those are now threatened by this invasion from Russia into Ukraine in the direction of NATO.
So with that, how would you advise the Ukrainian leadership?
The Ukrainian leadership is clearly capable of mounting a defense. They have to defend themselves. They will also be taking care that they can maintain control of the country. The Russians probably are going to try to depose this government. Who knows what they're after? We know in general what they're after, which is to dominate Ukraine. But how they go about that is not yet clear. And so President Zelensky, who has stood up to President Putin very clearly, very strong, very resolute, he's going to have to continue to do that. He's got to rally his nation to fight and resist the Russians as they come across.
Now, as all this is happening, the UN is still in an emergency meeting discussing the crisis in Ukraine right now, many pleading for Russia to pull back. What can UN diplomats actually achieve?
Not very much. Sad to say that the Security Council, because it has a veto power for the Russians to use, the Security Council cannot act. So it is not able to stop. It wasn't able to stop the the invasion in 2014. The Russians invaded Ukraine, of course, in 2014. Security Council met, and the Russians vetoed the condemnation. It was very interesting. The Chinese, even the Chinese, abstained from that. Be interesting to see what the Chinese do this time. I would imagine that the Security Council will propose that the United States will propose a resolution that condemns this attack, this unprovoked attack.
反ロシア政権であるというふうに見ていることは間違いないので、この政権をですね、覆すにはどうしたらいいかというようなことも、頭の中にあるのかなというふうに思っています。なるほど。はい、わかりました。